All right, gang. Today with us, we have dear friend of mine, Mr. Fadi Sankari, a father, a husband, three beautiful children, right?
Yes, three.
Man of values, principles, three daughters, or?
One boy, two girls.
Oh, nice, man. I'm daddy of two girls as well. But you're beating me with one son.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Man of values and principles, top 1% originator in the country, top 10 LOs in Michigan. And the best part about it, the fastest clear to close in record time in Michigan. And he's in the top with EWM and other lenders as well. Fadi Sankari, nice to have you, brother.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much, man. We've been wanting to do this for quite some time. Thank you for making the time and coming here. So basically, what I'm personally, selfishly interested in knowing, I know the audience wants to know a lot about you, but what I personally want to know, who was Fadi Sankari in high school?
Yeah.
Take me back.
High school. Wow. We go way back.
Yes, yes.
Not revealing my age, but yeah. So first of all, again, thank you for having me. This is such a blessing for me as well. It's an honor. You know, we were so busy and, you know, obviously before just not to find the time, but now I think is the perfect time to be here and share the message and hopefully inspire other people. So I really appreciate you guys having me. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, brother.
In high school, well, we gotta kind of take it back. You know, I am also I wasn't born in the States, so
You were not?
No, I was not.
Wow,
So,
I didn't
yeah.
know that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
Canada.
Canada. Oh, okay. Yes, yes. I thought you were going to say some like war-torn country you're coming from.
No. So I came from Canada, and
Okay.
from a young age,
Yeah.
I was always felt behind because I was in a part of Canada that was Quebec, so we spoke French.
Okay.
So when I came here, I was always behind as a bilingual. It was all these things because all the American kids were ahead of us and whatnot. So in high school, that kind of, you know, it took some time to kind of just, you know, make friends and get established and really kind of get on my feet. So
What year was that?
that was in the mid 19 in the mid 90s.
Okay.
So once you know, I got into high school, the way that I was able to join sports and stuff like that, that kind of started getting me friends and whatnot. Built a core group of people. In high school, I was always curious. I think that was be the good word. I was curious about things. I was curious about other things that really kind of like the status quo, right? The status quo is you got to learn this, you got to learn this. I was always curious about business. I was always curious about just other things that really we were learning. I wasn't the perfect school learner, but I had a knack for making friends and also just learning about other people and have an interest in people.
Curiosity was your main thing.
Curiosity was my main thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't come from a well-off family, so I always held a job, even in high school.
Okay. What was your first job?
I was a busboy.
Oh, nice, man.
I think you were too.
Of course, man. That's what I tell all the young people. Like your first job should be serving hungry and angry people.
Yeah.
Because if you know how to serve them, pretty much you can manage and serve anyone later. So this is a blessing, man. We didn't know when that happened.
Yeah.
But I think looking at it and back, at least for me, I'm sure for you as well, Fadi, I think first job as a busboy is really a blessing.
It really was.
Yeah.
And I still think about those days and kind of now as I'm older, you don't realize at the time I reflect on those, and I would want my kids to maybe not busboy, but be in some kind of service industry.
Maybe McDonald's.
A
little bit more mercy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
what restaurant was this in Michigan?
Yeah, it was in Michigan in West Bloomfield. It was just a Mediterranean restaurant.
Okay, got you. Okay.
So I worked in the restaurant industry for the greater part of, I want to say about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
I stayed in that throughout college. I stayed throughout high school. And I maintained that position for a long time. And I learned, I think one of my kind of key things here is that I was able to transact and work and learn behavior of people through hundreds and hundreds of thousands of interactions of people, different kinds of personalities, different kinds of people. And that really, really helped me understand people on a deeper level.
Oh, wow. Beautiful, man. So did you, when you were in restaurant industry for 15 years, Fadi, did you like climb up the ladder?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started, my final job was before entering into the finance world. I did something else before mortgages.
Sure.
I was actually, thank God, what people would consider the pinnacle of the restaurant industry, which was I worked at the Capitol Grill.
Okay.
Which
Nice,
is a lot of people know about this place.
Right, of course, man.
If you're in the restaurant industry, it's absolutely they tell us they get 2,000 applications a month. I don't know how.
That's the peak, at least in Michigan.
That's
right?
the peak in Michigan. That's the highest.
You don't go
place
better than that.
You don't go better than that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely, man.
I applied, I think 15 times.
Wow. Okay.
And
in what position?
Any position. I just wanted to get in because I knew if I got in that I would work my way up, regardless of what position, regardless of where I was.
Right.
And most of the time,
it's the belief, man. I love it. Yeah.
Most of the time, I got denied right from like the host.
Right.
They I don't know, profiled me or something, but I knew my application was not getting to the manager.
You come off as a white boy, man. Yeah.
So probably the last couple times, I didn't hand my application to that host.
Right.
I almost demanded that I just see a manager.
Okay.
And when I saw that manager and I shook his hand, he took me down. He sat me down right away.
Right.
And I got the job.
Guys, lesson, man. Persistency, right? So 15 times you said you applied and got rejected.
Yeah.
Wow. And then what position did you get finally accepted in?
I became a waiter.
Okay.
As accepted. And the bartender position is known to be the most, the bartenders, they've all been there since 25 years.
Wow.
And all the servers there, about 15 servers, they all been there for 10 years. Within 8 months, I was offered a bartending position as well.
Nice. So did you at that point or at any point in that 15 years in the restaurant business, did you ever think or dream of opening up your own restaurant one day? And
yes and no.
Okay. Tell me, unpack that a little bit more.
Yeah. So the restaurant industry, there's a lot of moving parts. Okay. It is a very, very hard and stressful business. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in a night. There's a lot of things that can go right. I think the restaurant industry, there's the hardest thing to maintain is staying fresh, staying the hot, right? Because every restaurant that opens
dies down.
Right. Correct. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people involved, right? And there's a lot of you have back of the house and the front of the house. They have to work seamlessly together to
the dining experience, the kitchen.
Correct.
Two different teams, two different worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that maybe in the future something, but for sure, and this will go to my next point, you have to have a system and process in place and everybody trained on that system and process.
Otherwise, it's not scalable.
It's not scalable and you will, and things will go wrong, things will be missed.
There's a good book, Fadi, before I forget. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. It's written by, 11 Madison Park in New York City.
Okay.
So basically they won the best restaurant in the world award in 2016. Like literally best restaurant in the world.
Okay.
And there's many criteria that go through it. So the co-founder of the restaurant wrote that book. His name is Will Guidara, if I'm not, botching his name, but it's a very good book for anyone actually in mortgage industry, in real estate. I'm encouraging all of our agents to read it in real estate, mortgage, insurance, any sales business you are in. It does not only talk about restaurant, how he built it from like just a regular another restaurant in Manhattan, like the competition is super high. He took it from that to number one in the world.
Wow.
So the book's name is Unreasonable Hospitality. But going back to your story, Fadi. So I'm sure Capitol Grill. I've never been there, by the way, because no halal meat. So I need halal meat.
They do. They have one
steak
do? From halal.
Oh, seriously?
Yes, they do.
I never knew that,
From
man.
Creekstone Farm. It's halal.
Oh, wow. From New Zealand.
I believe so. Creekstone. No, this Creekstone Farm is in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
And they do. It is halal.
Okay.
I can verify that.
Okay, nice. Good to know, Fadi. Next dinner, we should go to Capitol Grill, man, for sure, inshallah. So, brother, tell me, what are the types of people you're meeting there? What are the connections? Were you thinking beyond? Did you start thinking beyond restaurant industry in that particular restaurant when you're meeting people? What was happening in your mind, like with the people that you're meeting? I can only assume these are fancy people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was happening, and I was meeting a lot of those fancier and whatnot people. But at night, I was going home, and I was actually creating businesses.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is a point for persistence. Before, alhamdulillah, and thank God, like the mortgage industry and our business has took off. I don't even know how many businesses I failed. I can't even count. I can show you all my LLCs.
Right.
We started a baby clothing company.
Wow.
I started a hair company. That didn't go well.
It's a good insider joke for the podcast. Yeah.
Well, right now, but
Sure.
So many, I mean, I can go on and on and on. So many ventures and stuff started. But again, and I think this is very important for people to know. And I know you probably see it a lot online and you see it all over time. Don't quit, stay in your dreams. But I promise you, you know, coming from experience and many, many, many failed attempts, if you just keep getting up with the same energy and same enthusiasm that you had the first time, then something at some point will happen. And I'm blessed to now
This is so powerful,
look back
man.
out.
Same energy like day one every day.
Exactly.
Wow, this is so powerful, man. So, okay, so you were working on businesses at night, meaning you're setting up businesses. Probably, I don't know if you tried e-commerce.
I did.
Yeah, different things. I'm sure, man. I also tried e-commerce, one of the first failed businesses. Then I tried ACN, the multi-level marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried so many businesses and failed, man. It's funny. But okay, so how did finance come to your mind? Or what was you said your first job before mortgage, between restaurant and mortgage was finance. How did that come about? How did that thought process come about? How did you get there? Was there someone that you met? Was there an instance that you could think about, like light bulb went off, this is what I need to do? How did that happen?
My first project, I remember coming to the States, and one of our first projects in math class was to create a scrapbook. And from that scrapbook, basically going off magazines and picking things, you had to spend exactly $1 million.
Wow. Wow.
And that project to me was my favorite project.
Right.
So adding the numbers, and there were certain things and certain criteria that you had to do and to fill. But I was so intrigued by that project. And it wasn't just spending, but it was like, it was a nuance of trying to calculate and trying to find this and trying to find that and to make all the numbers make sense. So like math and finance kind of have naturally always been coupled with my mom and my dad, split. So in high school at an early age, I had to be the man of the house. I had to know the financials. My mom did not do all this. So I had to step up to the plate and be there. So my mom wasn't taken advantage of.
Okay.
So I self-taught myself.
Were you the oldest child in the house?
The oldest son.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
wow, beautiful, man.
so that's the second part of it. It was I took that responsibility and anyway, so that kind of led to a finance degree. Graduated from Wayne State with a finance degree, and still while maintaining the restaurant. So then one day, literally, I just kind of through all those failed businesses, I prayed.
Right.
I prayed for about 3 weeks. I would write and I would pray for God to lead me to where He wanted me. And just one day, November 16th, 2020, I'll never forget.
So COVID, second wave.
Second wave COVID.
Yeah.
It was as clear. It wasn't any more clear to me. It was almost like an alignment of utilizing my business entrepreneurial that I've always wanted and always had an app for, using the finance skills that I've learned and helping people like my mom. I wanted to combine all those three, and the mortgage company started.
Wow, man. So just like that, it came to your head, like let's go with the mortgage company.
It wasn't just like that. It took time because I was asking and I was searching for answers.
Okay.
But once God speaks, I think it's very clear.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Nice, man. Beautiful. So walk us to day one, November 16, 2020, right? Yeah. So not literally day one, but in the beginning days. So you started this mortgage company. What did you do? Were you like, okay, let me reach out to all my colleagues from all my past work, or let me reach out to the clients? What did you do?
Yeah, so that's
and maybe for someone looking to start a business, especially in sales, this will be a great advice.
Absolutely,
for them.
absolutely. Yeah. The first thing I did is exactly that. I reached out to people that knew me, the people that trusted me, and it's funny because you go on through life, and this is one thing I'd say: just always try to be as much as you can a decent human being to everybody around you.
Truly care.
Yeah, truly care. We're all people, right? We're all connected. I don't care what anybody says, what side of this that you're on. We're all people, and we're all God's children. Yeah. So, and I tried my best to do that throughout my life, and it's funny because it's the people you least expect it. I did go back and I called, and the people that you think were going to be there, right? The people that you think that were going to never heard from them.
Yeah.
It was one guy who I worked with, a Bengali Kuwaiti,
Bengali Kuwaiti.
Bengali. I'm sorry, a
Sylheti.
Bengali from Kuwait.
From Kuwait.
Yes, a
Okay.
Bengali from Kuwait.
Because I was like, that's a deadly combination, man.
Right. So a Bengali from Kuwait who polished silverware
Okay.
at one of the restaurants I worked at. He called me one day and he said, "I want you to meet this person."
Interesting. Yeah.
And this person was a realtor who opened up the door for me,
Right.
and he. It was almost crazy because he called me and told me, yeah, I'm gonna call you next week. And I remember driving, and he called me. I was leaving in a grocery store, and he's like, here's my son, talk to him. And I spoke to him, and it's almost like that person was like his father-in-law is right there. Right. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll meet with you. Sure.
Right.
So we ended up meeting.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. But that was really just the beginning of the story. There was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But that was the first door.
My memories got refreshed too. Now I exactly know what you're talking about. Yeah. Because I remember, I think probably within 2 or 3 months off it, and you correct me, Fadi, I think I got introduced to you as well.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. From now I remember clearly. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So I was yesterday at a meeting, and the guy is a $700 million net worth guy, right?
Yeah.
So he told me many profound things. He develops assisted senior livings, and he developed quite a few and flipped them. One of the things he said, and just your story reminded me, we're literally 1 or 2 connections away from the president.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's so powerful if you think about it, Fadi.
Yes.
Literally at any given point of time, you're literally 1 or 2 connections away from the president.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to believe that and make connections, right?
Absolutely.
And this is really, ladies and gentlemen, the story of Fadi Sankari. The secret has been revealed today. It's really making connections, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is amazing, man. So, okay, let's, one thing you touched on, and I want to go back to that, but I don't want to mess up the flow. You said start every day, like day one, with that same energy, and something will come, right? So it's sometimes easier said than done. Right, Fadi? Of course, you know the challenges that come with people. Sometimes they're just excuses, sometimes external challenges. So how does Fadi maintain the energy even when there are setbacks? Do you have any rituals? What do you do to maintain the energy? Like, hey, I want to have the best day today, like the best day today. You know, what do you do to bring that energy into your work, into everything, every day?
Sure. I think this is there's a great book about this. It's called Start with the Why.
Yes. Simon Sinek.
Yeah. So you really do when you're doing something, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, I truly feel that the time is limited. You could be successful for a little bit of time, but you're not going to cross over a certain threshold. So start with the why. Why are you doing something? Every single day I start with my why, and I try to remember that. My rituals are, I wake up early and I wake up with my family. Right. I make sure to spend time with my family. That is part of my why. It's not my whole why, but that is part of my why.
Right.
And then I spend time with God, and I think that's very important. Whether you're faithful, you should have some kind of spiritual something that you're doing in the morning where you're connecting.
Yeah.
Then I do it. Then I'm something with my health. Right? Like physical fitness, extremely important. You have to. But the point is, what brings you and why are you doing what you're doing? Right? Like that is a question that you truly have to ask yourself. A lot of people, and I remember like thinking about this question, but I never thought it really through, like completely through.
Right.
So during that time that I mentioned to you that I was, praying a lot, I really focused on the why I was doing what I was doing. There is a lot of, in the mortgage industry, unfortunately, there's just a lot of people getting taken advantage of. And I set on from an early time to say that I want to create a completely transparent and completely like fair cost mortgage company that continued on. And that is part of my why, is to be fair, is to be fair when other people are not.
Love it.
And that's what keeps me going every day. That's the other part of the why.
Absolutely, brother. So let's get into a little bit from this conversation to the technical aspects of mortgage business, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned one thing, part of your big why is giving fair service to people,
Right.
being transparent. So what were you seeing, Fadi, that someone should be aware of? Like, these are just some common things that might happen to someone who does not know any better, that you're seeing, man, this is just not fair.
Right.
If I ever open up my own mortgage company, this is something I'll completely not do, or this is
Right.
something I'll do better. What are some of those motivating factors for you, to be a little technical and specific?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of, well, first of all, there's just a lot of unfair practices of people getting taken advantage of. So I think that it's really kind of like hard to kind of get in detail without, getting too specific. But the point is that people get taken advantage of, whether if it's fees or whether it's elsewhere, getting manipulated.
You could be specific, Fadi, without mentioning any names of any companies or anything.
Right.
And this is just for the betterment of our audience.
Of course.
So they know what not to fall for. They know
Sure.
when to call you. They know what to see, what to look out for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of so for instance, if you're looking at a rate or a balance sheet or whatever, when you're looking at your CD,
Yeah.
typically there's certain amount that it should just fall in line with. But what happens is a lot of mortgage companies will add different fees that are just not necessary into the process.
Okay.
And they get away with it. Right. So, my advice is what you should always do. And whether they come to us or somewhere else, get second opinion, get a realtor. And I really, truly love Amin Realtors and EXP Amin Realtors, because they are so involved in the process that nobody getting away with anything, because they like to look and be an advocate for their clients, but others don't.
So Fadi, without getting into any names or anything, but just give us a little bit more specifics. What were you exactly seeing? You're like, man, that's a little unfair.
Yeah.
This is something I'm not going to do when I become the mortgage company, or this is part of my big why I want to open this mortgage company, so people don't have to go through what I see they're going through. Give us some specifics. And again, this is for our audience.
Yeah.
So they know what to look out for. They know when to call you or even call someone else, get a second opinion, what to look out for, basically.
Yeah. So, it's no secret that companies overcharge people, right? That's no secret. And at the end of the day, it's all about just, working and keeping the people that you trust close to you and getting a second opinion. Listen, it's a free market, right? So what's to stop a client from trying to go for, at least getting 1, 2, or even possibly 3 second opinion? And by the way, the common myth, like, I don't want to give it. Now we could do soft checks without affecting their credit report and still provide a loan estimate.
Wow.
That option is available to our clients.
Wow. Okay. So I can shop around without hurting my credit.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a free market, right? What drives competition and what keeps our fair market value for our clients is competition, right?
Yes,
that's how the consumer. That's how the consumer wins.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I always recommend that when they're looking around, the first company maybe is not going to be the best. And in fact, if that first company provides something and somebody else provides something better, they're only going to start competing to try to. So, it's an unpopular opinion, but if you do what's right for the client from the beginning, then they will come back to you, and then you will grow. So that's kind of been our motto from the beginning.
So basically, not overcharge.
Yes.
Just reasonable charge. Where it's fair for you guys to sustain the business, fair for the clients as well.
Exactly.
So do you ever get scenarios where, Fadi, you see that client come back to you? Has it ever happened in the last 3 years where like, oh, this guy is charging less than you? Did it ever happen?
It happened, actually. It happened, I want to say it happened twice this year, where they came back and somebody beat us, and we said, you know what? They're getting the best deal. Okay. And that's okay. And we're okay with that.
Okay.
Because we know that we.
So two times out of how many times? Like out of how many files you have closed?
I think 140 up to this day.
Oh wow! So only so less than 2%.
Yeah.
Like 1%, like 1.5%.
And we're okay with
that. Yeah, so that's great, man.
Good,
that speaks volume to your rates and the level of service you provide. Okay, coming to and I pulled a hard question coming, Fadi. Get ready. So since you're talking big about your rates and costs, man, let me throw some hard questions at you. Okay, so I'm a consumer.
Yes.
All right. Now, if I am, let's say it's 2022 now, February.
Okay.
If I'm buying a $300,000 house and I'm putting 20% down payment, The interest rate was roughly 3% around that time.
Okay.
I'm paying $1,000 for mortgage, principal and interest.
Okay.
Now, the same house, same $300,000 house, 20% down payment, because of the rate being around 7.8%, I'm paying close to $1,800. So from 1,000 to 1,800, almost double. And I'm getting the same house or probably worse because the house prices have gone up too, right? So when you are selling that mortgage to me, how do you justify selling that to me as a consumer who probably does not know that, man, this is like within 1 year, I'm just getting screwed over, $800, almost double payment. How do you justify that as a loan officer?
Yeah. So I think a couple points I want to hit here.
Okay.
The first point is the most obvious. As a consumer, as a person who's buying a house, if you can afford the house, okay, with your current monthly payment, and the DTI ratios will determine that, and you like the house, then you should buy the house. If you cannot afford the house from that monthly payment, that $1,800, then you are not ready to buy the house. It's truly as simple as that. That's first. Now, of course, yes, you're right. That thought that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but my payment was $1,000, that still doesn't make me happy, right? Well, we are in the top of a cyclical interest rate market where inflation is at some of the highest peaks that it's ever been. And inflation, as we know, drives rates. And a job markets, as you know, the UAW now just announced, mass layoffs and temporary. A lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are saying that we are entering into a recession. Okay. So a lot of people are projecting that these rates are going to go down. Now, I'm not an economist or a rate expert, but the way that things are trending around next year, rates will go down. And at that time, they say, marry the house, date the rate. That term, marry the house, date the rate, it's for a reason. Because if you love the house, that opportunity, and it's perfect for your family and you can afford that payment, then why not? There will be a time where you can refinance. There will be a time where you can change that payment when the rates go down. That's point number one. Point number two, there are some unique things that loan officers, realtors need to educate our buyers about. And that is, there are some unique programs and unique things that we can look at to justify this payment, that $1,800 payment. I'll give you one example. Let's say you, Sam, have to justify an $1,800 payment, but you have 4 credit cards, which, by the way, credit cards now, and we're an all-time high of credit card debt that took in
the U.S., yeah.
So let's say you have 4 credit cards. All the balances of those credit cards are about, let's say, $30,000 combined. And you're paying an aggregated 22%, which is an average rate on those credit cards. Now you're trying to buy a new home. Well, you don't want to sell your 3% home to buy this, let's say the $400,000, $500,000 home, even though you have 2 new kids, because you can't justify the payment.
Right.
Okay. So let's look at this, Sam. How about we sell the home? You don't have to put that entire down payment for that house. Why not just put a portion of that down payment for the house, right? Let's say 20%, because we're at all-time equity, by the way. There's an equity, a 52% equity right now that is in each house.
Yes.
Right. So people have equity in their house when they sell. So why not put a portion of that into your down payment and put the other portion to pay off your 22% rates?
Credit cards, yeah.
Now, if you look at the payments, Sam, if you're looking at the clients, Mr. Client, your payments that you're making on each of those credit cards with your, let's say, $1,000 a month payment is already, let's say, $1,800.
Yep.
So if we put that portion and pay off that debt,
right,
you're still making an $1,800 payment, even with the 7%, because what you have is aggregated interest rate.
Yes.
So there's unique things. It's about educating and knowing our clients and each term. Another thing I will say is there's different programs right now available. We do have one. It's called the 2-1 buy down. And it's a very popular program. It's been going around. It does require seller concession, but that's us working for our clients. Listen.
That's where realtors come in. That's where Amin Realty comes in.
Yeah, that's when Amin Realty comes in. Exactly.
Right.
Yes. To negotiate that.
Yep.
To negotiate that seller. Last month, in September, there were 790,000 real estate transactions buy and sell. Okay. Our realtors, our loan officers don't have to get that 790,000 transactions. They get 1 or they get 2, or they get 3, or they get 4, you're going to be in the top 15 to 20% earners in the United States.
Correct.
Right. So there is opportunity out there. Has it shrunk? Absolutely. But what is our time right now? This is the time. This is the time right now. In fact, I think we should be excited about this time, because this is the time where your competition is quitting and it's your time to gain market share.
Absolutely, man. I could not have said it better, brother. So just to unpack a little some of the facts that you mentioned, when the interest rate does finally come down,
Yes.
right, within a year or let's say even 2 years, that $300,000 house, everybody wants it, right? Because the interest rate came down.
Yeah.
So what you said about marrying
Marry the house and date the rate.
yes. So you cannot change the house price. That's why we're calling it marrying the house, right? The house price is the house price.
Right.
But at that time, same house, the price has increased so much because all the buyers flocked back to the market. But you buying now, you're locking yourself in with that $300,000 sale price, which probably not going to be there in a year or two when the rate comes down.
Right.
But then you can change the rate. You can refinance the rate. Beautiful. And the thing about credit cards, you said, I love it. So these are the type of creative financing that you are advising your clients on. So when are you usually doing that, Fadi? Are you doing a consultation with them? How are you usually how are you uncovering or unpacking all these details about the client? Or you're just studying the credit report and suggesting them like, hey, this is what we need to do to make it work for you?
I think it can start with me, but I really think, because look, it's no secret that the first person the person contacts is the real estate agent.
Right.
So, the real estate agent really has to kind of be the forefront of that, because at the end of the day, they're going to communicate everything to them. And the real estate agent could be the point of if they're going to move forward with the deal or not. So what I do is kind of the decision, let's just say, has already been made. There's an intent. So I think, frankly, what I need to do personally a better job at is educating the realtors that we work with to kind of be business partners that we work with to be on the forefront of that, because, and I see it all the time, right? There's that little friction that happens at the beginning, like, and then they fall off because their friends got to their head. The buyer's friends got to, told them, hey, 8%, don't do it. And okay, yes, rates are higher, but that does not mean that we can't find a creative way. So stuff that we're doing and stuff that we're continuing to do, we're going to start creating some more education, some more training, not just for our realtors, for the home buyers. But the point where it happens, yes, once we check the credit report, of course, and again, we can do soft checks to just, if there's a home buyer that's even just interested or just wants to know the numbers, we don't have to drop their credit score. We just do a soft check and give them that information.
Beautiful. Any story from top of your head, Fadi, where another lender said, no, we cannot do this?
Yeah.
They got declined. Okay.
Yeah.
The excitement tells me there are many stories, right? So no, we cannot do it. It got declined. The client came to you and you successfully closed them. If you can get to some specifics as much as you can, give us a story or two, Fadi.
Yeah.
Your top story.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So there are a few, but I think the one that I'm just trying to think of, the one that comes to mind was recent. It was an Amin agent actually, and they came to us and the deal couldn't go through for whatever reason. We looked at everything, and again, I just want to mention out there, like when we look at something and when we say this is what you have to do, that's not just that he took 5 minutes, right, and he was able to figure it out. That's 10 years of experience that built to that point.
Yep.
That's 5 o'clock in the mornings of staying up and waking up at 7 a.m. and like reading underwriting guidelines, right?
Like Michael Jordan says, maybe it's my fault. I made it look easy to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But I just want to make that point because they say, oh, they probably just didn't know. Like so we got the documents. Long story short is we looked at everything and all we needed to do was wait 2 more days for something else to generate a bank statement that kind of caused the thing.
Yeah.
To provide the underwriter the bank statement. We waited the 2 days. We provided it. So, but all of that again could not, without knowing the guidelines, without knowing all of that would not have happened.
Yep.
And more importantly, motivated and everybody on the same page. So, to your point, yes, we made it happen. Yes, we closed start to finish in 7 business days. I'm sorry, 7 calendar days. Start to finish, we closed it and we saved the deal.
Wow.
Communication, education, and just knowing all of that led to that. So we were very
Love it,
thankful.
brother.
That,
So a dead deal. Not only you brought it to life, but you brought it to life in 7 days.
7 days, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. This is an amazing story. And reading, understanding, being the great at your field.
Yep.
So actually, we posted something yesterday in our sales group. We said the 3 ways to get lucky is number 1, be the best at your game.
Yeah.
Number 1. Number 2, prepare.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3, just work hard, go for the opportunity. These 3 formulas, you just become lucky, right?
Yeah,
then
right.
people from outside will see and say that, oh, this guy just became lucky. But if you have these 3, you're going to always come out lucky, right? If you are becoming great at what you do, what you're saying, Fadi, this is what you do. You know, I've never heard a loan officer saying, you know, that I'm studying the underwriting guidelines in the morning to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
And I was just having this conversation also yesterday, like as a builder, when you know the code, a builder, when he knows the code versus a builder who just probably got the license, a builder but is not good, well versed with the code.
Yeah.
So there's a difficult situation. City came in, like, boom, you got to tear this wall off, do this, do that. A builder who knows the code here can go and say, how about we do this, sir? I understand where you're coming from. How about we do this? How about we do that? We still meet the code. We still do this. Well, and it's sort of like, yeah, okay, makes sense. Let's do it, right? Versus a builder who's like just book, probably passed, does not have experience or does not actually study the code, does not know. Inspector comes in. He does not have anything to say, anything to counter. And it's a fail, right? And that's it, done. The inspector is not coming again until you change it, because once they give the verdict, it's done. Similar concept in any field. Really being ingrained and knowing your field, being the best at it, reading, because there's levels to the game, right, Fadi? Now we're playing at a level and we are probably the best in our level, let's say. But when you go to the higher level, like, man, like you look at yourself and you laugh, man, did I really think I'm the best? You know?
right.
You know, so there's levels to the game
100%.
and you always have to level up. Love the story, brother. Amazing.
Thank you, Sam.
So now, Fadi, you know, you mentioned some powerful stuff. Now, are you looking to expand your team? If you are, what do you look for in a person when you're hiring?
Yes, we are starting. We're actually bringing a former underwriter, so we're gonna have an in-house kind of person.
Wow, nice.
Next week. So we are growing.
So 7 days will go to what? 4 days now?
Yeah, exactly. So we are growing, and we are looking for a few people to grow with us. Now, with that said, there's really 2 things I look for. You have to be able to talk to people, right? Like, and you know, hey, look, it's not for everybody. If you cannot talk to and conversate with people,
probably this field is just not for you. But
right, or we can find a place in the back end or something like for you. But like, you have to, as a loan officer, your
communication is
right? You're communicating with people. So that's number 1. You have to be able to talk. You have to be able to understand and talk. People, and again, waiting tables for 15 years and help me with that.
Hungry and angry people.
I like that. And then the second thing is you have to have good integrity and you have to be trustworthy. And ambitious. Trustworthy, ambitious, and be able to talk to people. If you have those 3 things, everything else can be taught.
Right.
And that's what I look for.
Okay, beautiful, man. So what would your advice be to someone? What kind of applicants do you get? Do you get a lot of young people, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, or do you get mid-20s, mid-30s? Who are you attracting? Who are you getting?
Yeah, a little bit of kind of everything.
Okay.
Okay. There's room for growth for everything, but I think the stage that we're at right now, and we're still newly growing, if you will, we are looking for just... Again, you have to have those 3 qualities. We've found those 3 qualities right now, kind of in their mid-20s, starting to settle down, starting to think they start thinking about their future. Not to say that, trust me, there's a lot of younger people, and some of your agents, I looked at, God bless, if I was, like doing what they're doing, and they have a huge future, and I'm talking about a couple of them.
Absolutely, man.
So we're looking, we're growing. And we're looking for a few agents and some in the community, some not in the community. Doesn't matter. But we're going to teach and we're going to train how we got to what we got to. We're going to have, I've been building out for this entire year, really, our is going to be kind of the standard operating procedures. So we're going to
SOPs you're building.
SOPs, SOPs, how we operate. And all
Going
of
back
this,
to the systems and processes from the restaurant you're mentioning.
that's exactly what it is. I derived everything from, like for instance, I'll just give you an example. And this is just a snippet of the SOP. In the restaurant that I worked at, 45 seconds from sitting down, you had to be in front of somebody.
Right.
Okay. So for us, if a realtor gives you a document, within 20 minutes, we at least have to reach out. Well, really within 5 minutes, we have to acknowledge it.
Yeah. Biggest thing, biggest game changer, man. Just
Exactly.
acknowledging like,
Thank
hey,
you so
I'm
much.
alive.
Received that, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And then within 20 minutes, start working on it. And within an hour, and definitely same day. So I'm deriving pre-approval.
Yeah.
I'm deriving literally the SOPs from
like a
from the
conveyor
6
belt, like you're from the restaurant days.
Exactly.
Beautiful, man. How everything comes into play. So we have our main audience is 18 to 24-year-olds.
Okay.
When we look at our, all the social media stuff. So what would you advise? I'm sure there's many 18-year-old, probably younger. I don't know if you saw, Nabil did a video with Dullah Mullah, that funny skit video.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh my
That was
God,
great.
man. Just thinking about it, cracking me up. So we got many DMs from that video.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to take my license.
Nice.
So we're excited. We're telling them, how do you take your license? Bro? Can I call you? I'm excited. I'm signing up. So they call us. We talk to them. They sound like a baby.
Yeah.
So we're like, brother, yes, we're excited for you and whatnot. Do you mind us asking how old are you? Oh, I'm 12.
What?
Seriously, bro, no joke. Like
Oh my
12-year-old
goodness.
asking for real estate license information. And we're excited, like we gotta leave. We're recruiting, yeah.
That's crazy.
And not one. Ask Nabil, like many. We got DMs, So a lot of our crowd is
Can you get it? Can you get it at 12?
No, man. No. So but we're like, the way we operate, man. Our SOP, man. You're going in our follow-up bus. We're following up with you until you're 18. So and we're gonna stick around until then, and we're gonna make sure that you become an agent with us. But the 18-year-olds and plus, the ones that are watching right now, probably thinking in getting into mortgage business or real estate or any kind of sales, specifically mortgage. What would you advise them right now? Keeping the current market situation in mind, and let's say they're 18 years old, just got off high school, and they see Fadi online, they see a lot of our realtors online, and they want to have a life, because it looks really glamorous online, right? So what would you advise them if they're watching right now?
Start.
Okay.
That's it. Start. I think if I was to go back when I was 18, I always had this mental
block
timeline of like, oh, when I'm this and this and that, start.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be obstacles along the way, right? There's a learning curve. There's a lot of things. But if you start now, if you truly just start, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. So if it's a real estate agent, reach out, to Sam or Nabil or whoever to at least learn more. Right. To at least learn, like, what do I have to do?
Right.
They say, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
One bite at a time.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely, man.
So
absolutely.
it seems like this huge endeavor. I gotta get my license. Well, start. At least know that. So in our processes, we have something called the next action. And our files from start to close, I mean, the process it is an elephant of what we have to do to close a loan.
Right.
But the next actions cover just the one next thing
Step.
that we have to do.
Yep.
And that's next actions that we have. So start at least the conversation to get more information of what you have to do.
Right.
And the real estate industry is a great industry. I obviously work with a lot of agents, and the mortgage industry is also a very good industry. Obviously, if they have any information, they can contact me and they can contact you, I'm sure, to get more information. But start. Do something. Do the research.
Absolutely. So last question, Fadi, as we are, we could go on for hours, man, but I think, the daylight tells me we're coming to an end, right? So last question, Fadi. So Fadi Sankari, 3 years in the business. I think 3 years will be in a couple of months.
Yeah.
In a month, actually, right?
Yep,
November
month.
16,
Yep.
2023 is going to be 3 years, right? So what's from here in the next 5 years? Who is Fadi seeing as competition, if any? What's the goal? What's the vision? What's out there for Fadi to acquire next or do next? What's the next big thing for Fadi and the company?
Impact. So we have impacted the community, I feel like, in a very positive way. Thank God, from the feedback that we've gotten. And I want to continue that impact through this community, through other areas of the community where that community is, through other communities as well.
Right.
Because that impact, I think, people sense when you do something genuine and good for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just walk now down and, the other day I was actually having a kind of a bad day. I locked myself in my I locked my office and I was going. So I got an Uber. The Uber picks me up and he's like, Fadi. And I'm like, hey, brother.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're popular. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
He's like,
wow,
you did my mom's, house. And
yeah.
I was like, he's like, you really helped her out.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
And I was
Fantastic,
like,
man. This is the biggest thing you could get.
that was, that was made my bad day. That made a good day. And so impact, and we will continue to impact communities as you have, you and your team have. And that is the goal. Further impact, further outreach, and helping our community and giving back to our community.
So Fadi, thank you for being with us, man, for almost an hour. Thank you for your time. But I want to end this with one last question for you. And it's going to be a little bit outrageous, but I want the fire, the emotion. So where does Mr. Fadi Sankari see himself in next 3 years, in next 5 years, next 10 years? Who are his new enemies? Who are his new competitions? Who are his new haters? Where do you rank in Michigan, in the United States? Where are you and your company in the next few years? What's your plan, brother?
So for this question, I have to actually go back a little bit, back to 2017. In 2017, I took a piece of paper and I made a cross, and then I had 4 quadrants. And each quadrant represented something that was important to me: family, religion, financial, and health. And in each of those quadrants, I wrote ridiculous goals. Remember, I'm unemployed, literally getting a $335 check from unemployment. And that was my income. But I wrote this because I knew that I had to at least have a destination of where I was headed. I needed to know where I was going. I did not know how I was going to get there, but I needed to know. I needed to motivate myself to see what my future looked like. It's 2017, I'm unemployed. I write some ridiculous numbers, especially being unemployed. And I don't even want to share negative three digits in the bank. Six figures in the bank, negative, and a lot of debt. So I wrote these outrageous goals. I wrote that I would have a business. I wrote that it would be making, $1 million+ in revenue. And I wrote all of these crazy goals that I had no idea. And I truly still, how we talked about, I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. 2017, I wrote it. And last year was the first time I pulled it out. And that each quadrant was red at the time because I haven't met those goals. So I went back, and the first time I pulled it out was last year in 2022. It was like late last year, so about a year ago. And I went through every single goal. And I didn't have kids at the time. And I said that I'd have 3 kids. And then I started coloring. It was all red. Each line, probably like 20 to 25 lines in each quadrant. I started coloring everything that I've met green. If I pull out this piece of paper now and I show you it, I would say about 95% of it's green.
Wow, man. Beautiful. As you're saying it, brother, I was getting goosebumps, man, especially the kids part and everything. These are blessings.
Thank you, brother. So, my thing, again, going back to your earlier question, is start. That could be a place you could start. Write down where you envision yourself. Use my strategy. It's okay. I give you permission. Just write something down, something outrageous. If it's $1 million in business revenue that you're going to meet, write it down. And by the way, that business was a different, I told you I've had many businesses. So I said that particular business was going to be, it didn't work out, but now it's a different business.
God had a better plan for you.
Exactly. So the next 5 years, 2022, after I colored everything green, I have now 2022 to 2027.
So you already have it. So we're going to find out, man.
And it's outrageous.
Okay. Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. I think this is the most powerful way we can end the show. Thank you so much, Fadi.
Thank you,
many more years and blessings to you, brother, to your company.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we can continue to do this, and hopefully we live until 2027 to reflect back to this podcast. Inshallah. And hopefully 100% are green by that time.
Thank you.
100% for your goals. Thank you again, brother. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.